geeks in charge? Who are the geeks in charge? Who are the geeks in charge? Ooh.
Hello there, Statistics Beautiful here. My first episode on biomarkers showed you around the lumping, splitting, shrinking, smoothing app, a playground for understanding group versus individual in relationship to medicine and statistics, and promises that there will be better choices than just lumping and splitting, or so say our friends Dr. Who and Reverend Bayes. This video postpones all those promising, lovely statistics deep dives, while I indulge in some favorite adventures in lumping and splitting, examples from cancer, particle physics, music, taxonomy, and murder. If you are hungry for techniques and equations, me too. But be patient, there's none of that in this video, and you'll hear no unkind words about lumping and splitting until the next episode when Dr. Who and Reverend Bayes will take aim. Then Dr. Lump and Dr. Split gonna be toast. Science advances by splits and lumps. Splitting things that seem obviously the same but turn out to be crucially different. And lumping things that seem so obviously different that turned out to have a deep connection. One of the most beautiful science stories I know, really close to my heart, has to do with cancer. The Philadelphia Chromosome, leukemia. Scientists building little facts over decades without a clue where it would go until it led to an unprecedented cure of a leukemia called CML. But not all leukemias, only those with a particular driving molecule and abnormal kinase. You split them off from other leukemias and other cancers. But there is another cancer, a gastric cancer, a stomach cancer, that looks nothing like leukemia, but it happens to have the same molecular abnormality. So we lump it with AML, and sure enough, the treatment works there too. Both lumping and splitting working together helped these cancer patients.
One of these things is not like the other things. One of these things just doesn't belong.
Details are in Jessica Wapner's great book and in my video. Linnaeus, of course, got us started big time with the classification game of all living creatures, using the famous binomial designation like Homo sapiens. Oh, and Tyrannosaurus rex, don't forget that one. Many decades later, Charles Darwin drew a really simple tree of life labeled, I think, the origin of species. I think this might be what's really going on. The tips represent species so different from each other, split off by what you might call biomarkers today, except in distinction to Linnaeus, the lumps and splits represent not primarily physical resemblances, but time. Descending further down the tree are shared ancestors. So we can lump humans together with apes, with the primates, earlier still, the mammals, and, well, yes, the fishes, even earlier still. If fishes exist, that is. Let's dive into fishes now. It's amusing that originally my motivating example was, of course, whales. What to do with a whale? Do we lump the whale with the fishes based on body form and locomotion and habitat? Or do we split whales from fish and lump with the bats and humans based on the characteristics of mammals? This was a big deal back in 1818. The court case was Maurice versus Judge. The case addressed the issue whether a whale should be subject to the law as a, quote, fish, and their oil officially inspected by the official fish oil inspector. The jury said yes, whales are fish. Inspect all that oil. Overturned on appeal, nope, not fishes. This courtroom drama pitched popular understanding against science. Sounds familiar. The book is called Trying Leviathan, the 19th century court case that put the whale on trial and challenged the order of nature. I thank my son for teaching me about this. Since then, I discovered this other book called Why Fish Don't Exist by Lulu Miller. It is a heck of a romp, starring a man, David Starr Jordan, who made it his life's work to collect and classify all fishes, a scholar admirable in his persistence after great disasters, but not for his eugenics or not so good kind of splitting. Speaking of things that are fishy, Professor Jordan was a suspect and a murder mystery in the early days of Stanford University. The victim, Jane Stanford, the wife of the founder Leland Stanford, possibly from a lump of strychnine. He was passionate about fish. But it turns out that in a modern view, fish do not exist at all. And there is a strong biological rationale for making that statement. I think the magic word is cladistics, explained in a tremendously entertaining book, Why Fish Don't Exist. On the other hand, this marvelous series of videos from Hank Green makes the opposite case, that we are all fishes. Not descended from fish, we are fish. That in fact human beings and all the backboned creatures crawling upon the earth, including humans, and mammals in the sea, including the whales, are actually fishes. And Tyrannosaurus rex, too. It's really the same viewpoint as fish don't exist, just expressed upside down. Whales, fishes, and bats.
One of these things is not like the other things.
Fishes and bats. Can the whale also be the odd man out? Well, maybe the fish happens to be a little fish, bat-sized fish, so yeah, the whale can be not like the other two. How about this? Particle physics. Fuzzy soda, a cute kitten, a volcano, orbiting planet, and a supernova. Which of these two are alike? I just happened across a book by Don Lincoln about the forces of nature. The introduction includes these things, which have a lumpy kind of idea because they all come from this universe. The instinct to lump shows us how fizzy soda and the cute kitten belong together. Well, because their nature is understood to a great degree by chemistry. That means electromagnetism, one of the fundamental forces of the universe. The other examples bring in mind other forces, the strong nuclear force, the weak nuclear force, and gravity. With knowledge of them, a volcano, an orbiting planet, and an exploding supernova are understood to be different from sodas and kittens. Well, you already knew that, but now you know why. How about an example from music? There is a marvelous talk given years ago by Alex Kantorovich, a mathematician, to a group of junior high school students. It's called The Riemann Hypothesis, How to Make $1 Million Without Getting Out of Bed. This brave man took it upon himself to explain the unsolved problem of the Riemann hypothesis about prime numbers to these young students. A wild ride through advanced ideas somehow made accessible to these young people. The lecture touched on so many fabulous topics. But here, let's bring it back to lumping and splitting, shall we? Near the end, he brings out 3 musical instruments that he knows how to play quite well. 3 biomarkers for musical instruments. You can lump the instruments by length, or by low range, or by timbre. Each one can be the odd man out. So, biomarkers are all about finding powerful ways to group people and other things, lumping and splitting, to make better personalized medical decisions. Lumping and splitting are shot throughout science and medicine in vastly different areas. Oh, that is all for now. We'll talk about biomarkers in many different aspects later. Dr. Who and Reverend Bays will do some mathy, statistic-y things next time.
Put the geeks in charge. Who put the geeks in charge? Who put the geeks in charge? Who